Good afternoon and namaste, my dear students. First of all, I would like to welcome you all in this distance teaching and learning class. So today we are going to continue the previous chapter, free writing. Today we are going to discuss about condolence letter and sympathy letter. So first of all, I would like to tell you that why we write condolence letter. First of all, condolence letter. It is also known as, we can write here, article also. Article. Okay, condolence letter, article. Why do we write condolence letter? First of all, we will discuss about that. You can look over here. We write a condolence letter when somebody near and dear of our life passes away. Understood, my dear students? We write a condolence letter when somebody near and dear of our life passes away. So, we write this letter. We write this letter to show sympathy, grief to the deceased person. Okay, we write a condolence letter when somebody near and dear of our life passes away. We write this letter to show sympathy, grief to the deceased person. Did you understand why do we write condolence letter? We write a condolence letter when somebody near and dear of our life passes away. We write this letter to show sympathy, grief to the deceased person. So, important thing is that the following things should be considered while writing a condolence letter. Following things should be considered while writing a condolence letter. What are the things that should be here? Acknowledge the loss. Say how you heard about the news and what was your reaction? First one is acknowledge the loss. Say how you heard about the news and what was your reaction. Second one, offer your condolence offer your condolence simply and sincerely. Offer your condolence simply and sincerely. Third one. Describe your relation with the deceased. Describe your relation with the deceased. Another one. Share your memories. Share your memories with the deceased. Okay, fourth one is share your memories with the deceased. And next one, fifth one, I will write here, you can see. Next one is offer your help and support. Offer your help and support. What will be the next one? Okay, so now we will discuss this. Condolence letter. We write a condolence letter when somebody near and dear of our life passes away. We write this letter to show sympathy, grief to the deceased person. And what things should be considered while writing the condolence letter? The following things should be considered while writing a condolence letter. First one is acknowledge the loss. You need to acknowledge the loss. How did you heard that news? Yes, how did you heard about the news and how did you feel about the news? First one is that. And the second one is offer your condolence simply and sincerely. You need to offer your condolence in a very simple way and in a sincerely manner. And next one is describe your relation with the deceased. You need to describe your relation with the person. What was the relation of yours and his or her? Next one is share your memories with the deceased. You need to share your memories. And next one, offer your help and support. You need to offer your help and support in the condolence letter. And what will be the others? Extend your condolence to the family members as well. Not only the deceased, you need to extend your condolence letter to his or her family members as well. Understood, my dear students? I repeat that again. First of all, you need to offer your help and support. You need to describe how you have heard about the news. And next one is you need to show your reaction in the condolence letter. Next one is you need to offer your condolence letter very simply and very sincerely, not only for the deceased person but for the family members as well. And another one is describe your relation with the deceased, and the third one is share your memories with the deceased. These are the things you need to be considered while writing a condolence letter. Understood, my dear students? Now, I will show you one example how to write condolence letter. Okay, now my dear students, I will show you one sample how to write condolence letter. Samples newspaper condolence. Okay, first of all, here should be one photo of the deceased person. This is the sample newspaper condolence. So first of all, here should be one photo, and next one here, we express our deep sympathy and grief. We express our deep sympathy and grief to the sudden demise Sudden demise of. Now we express our deep sympathy and grief to the sudden demise of. Now you need to write a person name. Okay, let's write Rahul Sharma. Rahul, Sharma, Sharma. First of all, we express our deep sympathy and grief to the sudden demise of Rahul Sharma. This is the condolence letter for Rahul Sharma. Now, after that, you need to explain your relationship with him. Like Rahul Sharma, a loving friend, okay. A loving friend of our class. Rahul Sharma, a loving friend of our class. He was the most. Now you can explain about him. He was the most intelligent, friendly, and brightest student of our class. Brightest students of our class. And after that you should write how the accident happened. You should write that. Like for example, class, he died in a road accident. He died in a road accident while coming back from Pokhara on Saturday. While coming back from Pokhara on Saturday. Now, we extend our heartfelt condolence to his family. And family members and relatives. And pray that his departed soul rest in peace. He will, and now last one, he will always remain in our heart. He will always remain in our heart. We express our deep sympathy and grief to the sudden demise of Rahul Sharma. Now, Rahul Sharma, a loving friend of our class, he was the most intelligent, friendly and brightest student of our class. He died in a road accident while coming back from Pokhara on Saturday. We extend our heartfelt condolence to his family members and relatives and pray that his departed soul rest in peace. He will always remain in our heart. First of all, acknowledge. Yes or no? First of all, acknowledge the loss and then showing the relation about the person. Yes or no? And giving the condolence to his family and relatives and supporting also. Yes or no? This is the way you write the condolence, and this is samples newspaper condolence letter. And at the last you can add students of grade 6, like at the last you can add, like I will give you here, students of grade 6, students of grade 6. You can write here school name. You can write here school name and you can write here place. Understood? At the end, you can write students of grade 6, write the school name and you can write the place. Understand, my dear students? This is the way you write the samples newspaper condolence letter. Okay, so my dear students, just before we discuss about condolence letter, now we will discuss about sympathy letter. This is also a free writing. So, why we write sympathy letter? For what purpose we write sympathy letter? Okay, let's see. Why we write sympathy letter? We write a sympathy letter to express a feeling, feelings, sorrow. We write a sympathy letter to express a feeling, sorrow, pity for someone, else misfortune. We write a sympathy letter to express a feeling, sorrow, pity for someone else misfortune. The misfortune might be death, accident, illness, theft, failure, or anything else. Which causes suffering. So we write a sympathy letter to express a feelings, sorrow, pity for someone else's misfortune. And the misfortune might be death, accident, illness, theft, failure, or anything else which causes suffering. Understand, my dear students? Now I am going to tell you about the difference between the condolence letter and the sympathy letter. I think you are getting a little bit confused regarding condolence letter and sympathy letter. So I will tell you some differences between condolence letter and sympathy letter. The difference between the condolence letter, and sympathy letter is that the condolence letter is mostly written at the time of death, or at the time of someone's death. Whereas Whereas I already told you that sympathy letter is written to express about the misfortune. Misfortune might be death also, might be accident also, might be illness also, might be theft also, failure also, or anything else which causes suffering. But the condolence letter is written only in the time of death, someone death. Yes or no? Condolence letter is mostly written at the time of death, whereas sympathy letter is written at someone misfortune. It can be death also, it can be accident also, it can be illness also, it can be theft also, it can be failure, or anything else which cause only suffering. Did you understand, my dear students? So the main differences between condolence letter and sympathy letter is that condolence letter is written in the time of death only, whereas sympathy letter is written at someone's misfortune. It can be death, it can be illness, it can be accident, or it can be anything else which cause suffering. Understand? Now I will show you one example of writing sympathy letter. Okay, how to write sympathy letter? First of all, with sincere sympathy. With sincere sympathy. We are so sorry. We are so sorry to learn the sad news. Sad news of Rahul's death. Sad news of Rahul's death. Who was the best friend? Who was the best friend of our son Prem? Of our son Prem. It is very difficult. It is very difficult to know. It is very difficult to know about what had happened. It is very difficult to know about what had happened. It is very difficult to know what had happened and what to say in this tragic moment. In this tragic moment. So, we are so sorry to learn the sad news of Rahul death, who was the best friend of our son Prem. It is very difficult to know about what had happened and what to say in this tragic moment. Now, I will give the short conclusion about this. You can just write, we don't know anything else. We don't know anything else. We don't know anything else. This is just a conclusion. We don't know anything else. May God gives May God give you strength to overcome the grief. And at last you are sincerely Govinda. What you can write here? Govinda, Soni and Prem. It is just an example. It is an family members. Govinda father, Soni mother and Prem is son. So my dear students, we are so sorry to learn the sad news of Rahul's death, who was the best friend of our son Prem. It is very difficult to know about what had happened and what to say in this tragic moment. We don't know anything else. May God give you strength to overcome the grief. This is the short sympathy letter I taught you. In our next class, we will continue this sympathy letter. Till then, take care, stay safe. Thank you.